Welcome back, YouTube. Chat wanted me to watch something about the Sweet Baby Inc. debacle, so I'm a little uninformed, so we're going to be watching this. Leave any recommendations for videos down in the comments below. Let's get into this. I've never seen, like, I again, know nothing about this.
By Keeps. Stick around to hear more about the special offer they're providing to the entire Upper Echelon community. All right, today I want to talk about the Sweet Baby Inc. disaster, a story that gained widespread media traction over the past couple of weeks because it feels like pretty much everyone talking about this is deliberately missing the point, and a lot of people are talking past each other in a way where they get to stoke the fires of resentment in their own audience, but they do so at the expense of pretty much any meaningful outreach to the other side.
That's like 99% of the YouTube videos that people make. This guy's video, I'm sure is going to be great. Like, it sounds like this is going to be a very good game video at the beginning, but I do hate it how, like, most of the videos out there, you can already tell they were planning the video before, like, the subject of the video came out. It's like, all right, this video game is going to be bad. I've already prepared an outline for a possible script for it, and then they just fill in it with, like, real stuff that happened into it, and they just talk past each other. He's totally right.
Here's the background. For a few months now, maybe longer, possibly longer, but I wasn't aware of it back then, so I can't speak to that. There's been this theory going around about a company called Sweet Baby Incorporated. I did my own video on that theory a little while ago, specifically featuring Sweet Baby Inc. and also discussing the general trend of narrative development in video games and the concept of going woke with an effort to actually define the term instead of using it as an all-encompassing boogeyman.
I need to watch that video because I hate the word woke on the internet. I never use it. Whenever I see something with a title that says, oh my God, this has gone woke. This has gone woke. I was like, can you like define what you mean by woke? And then if you can define what you mean by it, can you just say that instead? Because woke can mean anything. It can mean literally anything for anybody. So I hate that word. So I'm glad he did a video on that. Yeah, it's so typical nowadays. It's just, yeah. And Kenny, if you want to put some reaction videos, put it in the Discord under the reaction channel. And I love funny videos.
Which in my opinion went pretty well, by the way. Much more recently, however, the discourse surrounding Sweet Baby Inc. has basically metastasized into something entirely different, and the whole thing got a lot more messy. The first thing I want to do here, like the very first thing, is define a term. Everyone watching this has likely already heard of that term, but not everyone knows where it comes from, and believe you me when I say this, I don't know if there could ever possibly be a better example of this term indirect action than the situation involving Sweet Baby Incorporated. The Streisand effect, that's the term.
Oh.
And loosely speaking, it refers to a situation where Barbra Streisand attempted to suppress a photograph of her Malibu home, thereby causing that photograph to gain widespread notoriety in the media as well as publicity. It's actually a fascinating story by itself. A photographer who provided photos to scientists for the purpose of documenting coastal erosion had taken
I thought that was my mouse right there, but no, that's
photographs
his.
Of this mansion and then distributed the photographs online.
Kenny, you're going to have to put the video in the Discord.
Spurring Barbra Streisand to sue him on that basis for $50 million. Funnily enough, at the time of her lawsuit, the photo had been downloaded, I think, just 6 times, 2 of those times being her own lawyers for the case, which means that a photograph receiving just 4 public downloads became the subject of a $50 million lawsuit by a famous celebrity, leading to a now immortalized pop culture saying where that celebrity's actual name is forever synonymous with fucking up so bad you actually create the problem you were trying to suppress, which is kind of fantastic. Sweet Baby Inc. has basically executed a modern-day version of that precise maneuver, which is equal parts hilarious and also pathetic. So what happened? Well, for starters, we need to know exactly what Sweet Baby Incorporated actually does, but I'll make it as brief as I can. From their website, quote, founded in 2018, Sweet Baby Incorporated is a narrative development and consultation studio based in Montreal and working around the globe. Our mission is to tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video games industry. We aim to make games more engaging, more fun, more meaningful, and more inclusive for everyone, end quote. Further down, quote again, we believe you need diverse voices to solve diverse problems. Sweet Baby Incorporated provides narrative consultation at any stage of development, boasting a talented team with vetted industry experience to best bring your story to life, end quote. And then lastly, it's a lot, I know, but we need this foundation before understanding how the train completely derailed. Lastly, quote, we believe that representation is key to connecting players and audiences, and we offer a few ways to help your team and project gain the perspective needed to make it happen. We're part of an inclusive and knowledgeable community of diverse consultants able to cover a wide range of cultural and sensitivity topics. Our approach leads with the creation of joy in marginalized players and seeks to be additive rather than strictly corrective. We do consultation, cultural consultation, sensitivity and inclusivity reading, risk and opportunities assessment, and more.
Okay, I want to pause it right there because, and I hope that he will address this because, again, I'm coming at this with pretty much no background knowledge on this. Is they're saying I've worked at consultation groups before, and consultation groups are just something that you can then go and ask for their services, and they can provide, like, you have something and you want them to kind of proofread it, or you want a consultation on how to improve it or make sure it's safe. They do not force themselves upon anyone, from my experience of a consultation group, that they're, especially in the games industry, I don't think it's a requirement. So I am wondering, like, if video game developers are on their own going to this company and asking for them to, like, you know, do the consultation for making sure that their writing is good, or that it is that they're representing whatever groups that they have in their game already. And this is what I'm assuming, and I'm sure he'll address this, but I'm just explaining where I'm coming from. It doesn't sound like they're going to tell a developer you need to add a marginalized group into your writing. It sounds more like, and again, I hope if he will explain this, I hope, is that they already have maybe a minority or a marginalized group within their games, and they want help to make sure that that group is represented more properly. But again, I don't know if that's the case, and I'm excited to see what he has in the video. Well, I guess the devs believe they need this consulting to go up with modern norms. And that is fine from the developer's perspective, because it doesn't, again, I don't know, but if Sweet Baby Inc. is just a company that people can go to and they ask for their consultation, that seems fine. Welcome, Drago. Now, if there is something where they are forcing themselves upon game development, that's a whole nother story. So I'm going to be interested to see which of these two dynamics it is in the video.
That basically covers it. Sweet Baby Inc. is a narrative consultation firm. They help modify video game stories to be more diverse, inclusive, and sensitive, while partnering up with
I love the chaotic TV show. I remember
developers and publishers. Here's the thing. That's been pretty well established for quite some time, and regardless of anyone's personal feelings about it or speculations about how much influence the company actually exerts on the projects that they're involved in, they've persisted for years now, bouncing from contract to contract. Enter Steam. Steam, as most people will probably know, is the largest video game distribution platform on Earth. You could possibly argue against that because of
they consult potential investors and rate companies based on arbitrary metrics. Okay, I hopefully he'll talk about that, because I would like to see that in action, definitely.
Mobile game platforms or something, but that's a joke, and I would laugh at you. Steam is the premier PC gaming store, and one of the features it offers is the curator function. In essence, this is just a group of games that you can put together. They can be listed together for pretty much any reason at all. But in this particular case, the tool was used to create a list of games where Sweet Baby Incorporated was involved directly in their development, specifically so that people could avoid buying and playing those titles.
Now this, I did hear about this. I did hear about this right here, and I think that's fine. Like, the more information that, whether you agree with someone being for or against Sweet Baby Inc., I think having the information of did they work on this game, there's no negative behind it. If someone wants to really support them, they should have that information. If they really want to avoid them, they should have that information. This tool right here should cause no problems for any. This shouldn't be a problem for anybody. It's just more information for a consumer to use to decide if they want to support or not support a video game or a project. This is an absolutely good thing. I don't see how anyone could be upset about by this thing.
Now, at first, this was a relatively small group of people. Yes, people know about Sweet Baby. Yes, they are deeply unpopular with a pretty large chunk of the general player base right now, or they were back then. But for the most part, people just really don't care. Well, that all changed when Sweet Baby employees began to aggressively try to get the Steam group taken down.
That's so stupid. Oh, so this is the Streisand effect. Okay. That's so stupid. Literally, it is like rule 1 of being someone on the internet. If you don't like something, if you dislike anything, just don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Don't bring attention to it. Do not mention it. Ignore it. Because the best thing that you can do to something is just ignore it. That is the best thing you can do against anything that you hate. Because the worst fate to befall anybody is not to be hated. It is to be ignored and to be acted like you do not exist. But people on the internet keep on forgetting that. There are so many things that I dislike that I don't want to have any more attention drawn to it. So I just don't talk about it. It's that easy. Watch, I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to not talk about something that I don't want anyone to know about right now. I just did it. It's that easy. It's that easy. It is the encapsulate of cry bullying. Oh, well, I hope we're going to find out more, Hunky.
Sparking off an incredible demonstration of the Streisand effect in action, which catapulted the topic to mainstream gaming media websites and pushed over 250,000
Thank you for coming by, Rogue.
So far, just as of the making of this video, to follow the very same group that they were trying desperately to suppress. Good job, guys. All right, time for the video sponsor. YouTube's not the most reliable income source. It's great, don't get me wrong. Other platforms honestly don't come close, relatively speaking.
Yeah, TikTok doesn't give you anything.
But the thing I'm really talking about here is income security, which is provided by sponsors such as Keeps. The value of that can't really be overstated. They effectively make it possible for me to do this full time in the first place. All of it boils down to demographics. That's the golden relationship between an advertiser and a channel, which in this particular case is about as good as it could possibly get. Most of you are men ages 18 to 45. That's just pretty much all of you. Keeps is a hair loss prevention product with more 5-star reviews than any current competitor. You can order and get treated directly from your own home for about half the cost when compared to other products. And they offer generic versions of the only 2 FDA-approved hair loss treatments on the entire market. They also have a 2-in-1 gel that combines both of them. For a special offer to get started, go to keeps.com/UEG or click the link down below in the description.
Hey, I do not need this. Chat, I do not need this. I'm not bald. Look at my hair.
For a special
Look at this. This is totally my real
hair. The link
hair.
down below in the description.
I don't
Keeps
need
can
it.
help prevent, in some cases, reverse the process of hair loss with treatments that come very conveniently, by the way, right to your door every 3, 6, or 12 months. They also have a variety of additional products like shampoo, conditioner, etc., all of which are high quality.
I'm hiding a bald spot under my hood.
Customers making them the best option in the current market. So big thank you to Keeps for sponsoring the channel. Back on task. There's a couple of very good examples here, but the main one would probably be Chris Kindred, a writer at Sweet Baby Incorporated, who said, quote, "Report the fuck out of this group and report the creator since he loves his account so much," end quote.
This is just so stupid.
From trying to even just.
This is so stupid. They made it even worse by trying to get the guy's account taken down, his Steam account. Like, shouldn't they be focusing on doing their consultation job? Like, focus on that. To stop focusing on the other stuff. What the fuck are you doing? How do you fuck up this badly? I don't understand how you can just not see the issue with what you're doing. This is so stupid.
Report the thing that they don't like and push people to brigade another person and cancel them for doing something that the company doesn't like. I'm sure everyone can obviously guess what happened as a result, but for those that can't, this effort completely backfired. The Steam group began to go viral in a whole bunch of different online communities. The number of players engaging with the topic skyrocketed. And then, as if the lesson had not already been learned, major gaming media publications.
Wait a minute, why? What is the background of this group? I just noticed there's an Ahego face right there. What is the background for this?
Started to jump on board, desperately trying to debunk things and play defense for this company as they torpedoed their own reputation. A whole slew of articles came out in rapid succession, such as this one. Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what some gamers think it does, from Kotaku. Or this one. A company called Sweet Baby Inc. has become the target of anti-woke gamers because it offers consultancy work, an industry standard service that's been normal for years. That's from PC Gamer.
Okay, that one, just because it's a service that is been normal for years doesn't mean that it's good. Do you know how many bad things that are no longer normal were normal for years? Slavery. I know that's an extreme example, but just because something is normal for years doesn't mean it's good. Okay? That's so stupid. That's so stupid.
There's more. Nathan Grayson, the Mary Sue, etc., etc. But let me just read a few snippets now to demonstrate the type of way, I guess, that these articles are constructed. Quote from Kotaku, Sweet Baby Inc. isn't forcing diversity, it's happening naturally. Sweet Baby Inc. is a narrative design company, meaning most of its work is focused on writing stories and dialogue. They are not a DEI consultancy firm. That means they ensure a game's plot points make logical sense and are satisfying to players, and the characters speak and behave in consistent ways. Narrative designers may also provide a final round of polish like a Hollywood script doctor. For example, the team worked on Suicide Squad long after...
You could have picked a better game. I don't know, but I think I've heard that they worked on like God of War. Could have picked a good game, or a game that has good critical acclaim that the gamers like. Why'd you pick Suicide Squad? Because that sentence right there only is more ammo for them, you know? That it's kind of bad.
After the story was written, and even then they joined just to write in-game ads, audio logs, and NPC barks. CEO Kim Belair tells me over video call, end quote. Here's one from PC Gamer, quote, Sweet Baby employees maintain that, overall, their job is to provide assistance to companies that already want to improve already existing diverse elements, as per the company's CEO, Kim Belair, but the perspective is never that we're coming in and injecting diversity. For the most part, it's the reverse. It's that a company has created a character that they want to make that character more representative and more interesting.
Okay, so that paragraph right there, if that is true, and that is the extent of that they're doing, is that they are not creating characters for the game, they're not saying they need to create characters for the game, or not pressuring developers to make new characters for diversity. I don't necessarily see an issue with this. Again, he's pointing it out, so I'm guessing there's going to be a twist on it, so just bear with me as I learn. So I'm looking for the shoe to drop, and I appreciate this guy's attention to detail and getting into the detail of it. One, the company is already very stupid, and the people who work at it that try to pile onto this group, complete assholes. Like, that's inexcusable right there. So I already have a negative viewpoint of the company, not even getting into the stuff that they do within the games. We haven't even gotten to that point, and they're already stupid. They just make existing characters more interesting and representative. If that is the case, if like a video game developer has a minority character or a disabled character or something, and they're like, hey, we wrote them. Can you make sure that they are consistent? And because like, what if their entire development team is like cis? I hate saying like this, but like cis, heterosexual, whatever the other terms, men, or white men, and like, okay, I wrote a black female. I'm not a black female. Can you make sure that I wrote it right? If that's literally it, okay. But I'm going to see if there is more. They turned this shit up to 11 is the translation. We'll see. Again, I want to see some examples. I want to make sure I'm not jumping onto a bandwagoning effect of any of this. So we're going to see. We're going to see, because I want to see examples. I want to see them do the negative aspects of it, other than them just being absolute shitheads to literally just a Steam group and a Steam user. That's absolutely inexcusable.
End quote. Hopefully we can see what they're going for here, but in case you can't, the argument being made is that Sweet Baby Incorporated does not actually influence gaming narratives. This
now is that true?
Very defensive media articles center on the assertion that the company doesn't do what gamers think it does. That's literally the title from Kotaku. But what if I told you there's more to the story? What if I told you that these authoritative articles,
here it comes,
at the 11th hour after the company Streisanded themselves, we're missing a lot of context on how things actually look. To explain this, we need to focus on Kim Belair, who is the founder and CEO.
See, here it is. See, I knew there was going to be something.
Primary mouthpiece addressing the media right now in defense of the company's reputation. First thing, Kotaku directly cites Kim Belair and states that Sweet Baby only worked on Suicide Squad, quote, long after the story was written, end quote. However, looking at IMDb, that doesn't seem to make sense to me. In the official credits, we see three names, Grant K. Roberts, Amy Lee Shaw, and Kim Belair. Grant Roberts is a lead script writer, Amy Shaw was a junior writer, and Kim Belair was a regular writer. Kim Belair is obviously, as we've already stated multiple times, the CEO and founder, but Grant Roberts works as a narrative at Sweet Baby, meaning that a Sweet Baby employee held the position of lead script writer on a project where the CEO claims they came in long after the story was written and only wrote in-game ads,
that's not good.
logs, and NPC barks. Forgive me for not quite understanding why someone who did tiny snippets of basically nothing on a project long after the story was written holds the official title of lead scriptwriter. Next, we need to look at a relatively obscure YouTube channel called AC Sisterhood. On this channel, there is an interview with Kim Belair where she is pointedly asked a question by the host. Quote, "Are you able to influence how many or in what manner women and minorities are included in the planning stage of a game? Or can you only give feedback on existing characters already in the script?" End quote. Remember, PC Gamer is running defense here, citing the CEO of the company in a statement that says, "The perspective is never that we're coming in and injecting diversity." But here, in this particular obscure interview, Kim Belair asserts something entirely different, effectively stating that her whole mission is to do precisely that. Her express goal is to, quote, "try and build a narrative and a story that include moments and elements custom made to bring representation and joy to people," end quote. Setting aside all personal opinion on that fundamental mission, like it
hang on. So that right there, I don't agree with. That right there is just negative for me, because because I'm against having inclusive groups or having diverse casts or anything like that. What I don't like is that if someone has an idea of what they want to write, has a story crafted in their mind, has a game that they want to build, and they build it. If you build a game and you also happen to want to make it where a game is including diverse characters or certain aspects of it or different groups, and that's the goal, that's the vision that you have, it can be a really good story. But if you didn't have that, forcefully injecting that it's not going to be as good. It's going to mess with the vision that you had. So if the story that you have is crafted around a diverse group of people, great. If it isn't, great. Just make the story that you want to make. And if you happen to need help to make sure that you're representing the groups that you already had envisioned being in the game, great. Get some help with that. That's fine. But having it like, I made all this, there's not enough of this group. Well, I didn't have that vision for this game, for this story. That's going to mess things up. It's going to get worse. And also, I don't even know how to write like that and everything. I don't know where to fit them in. You're going to get a worse product. So this is absolutely stupid.
It's skeptical, supportive, I don't care. Setting all that aside, that statement juxtaposed against what the media is now saying to defend this company makes absolutely no sense. These are contradictory positions, where the media is condemning the community for not understanding what the company...
Rave, you're thinking these people are smarter than they actually are. There is no applying logic here. I mean, they already made the cardinal sin of doing the Streisand effect. So yeah, they're already stupider than you're right. I'm giving them credit for. So you're not wrong.
Company actually does, after the CEO quite literally said her mission is to do the...
Also, how stupid do you have to be to say that out loud? They said the quiet part out loud. I don't care what interview you're in. I don't care what you think. If you're doing what they're doing, you should at least know I shouldn't say this out loud. You shouldn't say that out loud because you know that people are going to be upset about it, right? You know that, right? Like, and the people that support it are not going to help you. They're not going to outweigh the negative side of it. So why would you say it? You're not going to get more support than negativity. They're so stupid. They said the quiet part out loud.
Precise thing that she now says never happens. Riddle me that one, Batman. But wait, there's more. I'll have to play this one because it's longer and I don't really want to transcribe the quote and read it all, but just listen to this while keeping in mind that the entire situation is now being deflected under the pretense that Sweet Baby Incorporated does not influence narratives and only does surface-level finishing touches.
And if you're in development and you are part of like that dominant voice, you're like a cis hetero white dude or just adjacent to that.
She said the thing that I had to say that I don't like saying it. She said the cis hetero white dude. I hate those phrases. I know that they're actual terms. I just hate them because it's been so parodied by woke and anti-woke and all that other stuff. I hate saying it.
Do not wait until the end to call your consultants. Bring them in at the beginning, and instead of asking them, hey, is this very racist thing we did very racist? Or is this deeply offensive thing we did deeply offensive? Are you hurt by it? Ask them what they want to see. Like, ask them what would thrill them, what would bring them joy.
That's so, no, don't do this. Do not do this. Do not do this. Don't make the story you want to make and then ask to make sure that it's touched up. That getting a touch up is absolutely fine. I don't have any issue with getting a touch up that makes sense. Because if you told me to write a character who is in any marginalized group, I would have trouble with it. I would write it to the best of my ability, do the story that I want to write, and then ask for someone to, hey, make sure that I didn't like what if I wrote a word or I wrote a phrase that somehow has some negative connotation to it within the community and I didn't even realize that was a thing of like, oh, you probably didn't know this, but you probably don't want to say this like this. I'd be like, oh, shoot, thanks for telling me. Now I can rewrite that a little bit. That would make sense. Getting them in to tell me how to write it from the beginning? No, that's absolutely stupid. I don't know what these people are doing. Jeez.
And if you have a team lead, put that request to them very, very early. If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want. Because they have to consider, like, I say that out as a joke, but it's actually very, very true because if you start to consider the people who are player and audience facing and who have to deal with mitigating harm and with keeping the sentiment around their game and their project positive, there's like a genuine value that you can impress upon them with both ethically and financially. You can say this is important.
Yeah.
What? Wait, what do you mean? Wait, financially? What? Wait, how are they doing that? That doesn't sound good at all. Excuse me?
So this whole thing blew up because gamers believe that Sweet Baby Incorporated is forcing themselves or their desired perspective into their video games, while Kim Belair in 2019 was advocating that people do exactly that. But now the media is gaslighting everyone by pretending that's not a thing. Forgive me if I'm somehow misinterpreting the
I mean, I literally just heard it out of the horse's mouth. So, is that the phrase? I probably said that phrase wrong, but you know what I mean. I literally heard it from her. So no, it seems like that's what they're doing. So yeah, no, like this is why you literally just have receipts. It's fake. Oh, you're right. I'm surprised no one's like, we gotta scrub it from the internet. That was AI generated. That was AI generated. That wasn't real. That's fake. Use deep fake technology. I never said that. That's bullshit.
Chain of events on display here, but that's what I see. This kind of schism between what the media is now pretending and the philosophy that this company actually holds, at least the founder and CEO very clearly holds, is on full display as soon as you start to do even the most basic level of research, which obviously the media don't believe anyone is actually going to do. From an online blog.
That's honest. Don't like agreeing with the media on a lot of stuff, but that's fair. But most people won't do the basic research. Most people will form an opinion off the first headline that they see, and they will defend it till the day they die. That's what they will do. So they're not wrong. Most people will not look into it. They won't. They'll just go with whatever side seems to be, whatever opinion seems to go with their preconceived notions, and not try to, look into it to see are they wrong, are they right, and expand their brain. Yeah, people are lazy and ignorant. This is why I'm watching this video, because I didn't know. I didn't form an opinion. I had no preconceived notions, and I want to understand, like, oh, what's happening? That's what we're doing.
Blog called Complications Ensue, which Kim Belair spoke to in 2020. We can see, quote, "We have to look at story and narrative as one of the things that we can innovate on. Like when you bring someone in from a different culture, from a different background, from a different gender, they're going to create something that we haven't seen before. The way that we look at demographics is that we go, okay, the majority of our player base is, let's say, a white male. So
the majority of their player base is literally just one white male. He's very big. He buys all the games. It's this one specific white male. I like the way they wrote that. A white male instead of white men. The one singular, really big white guy. It's Elon Musk. He's really big.
We're going to make stuff for white males. But if you make something from the perspective of an Asian trans woman, and it's really strong, then it will work for people. People crave new stories. If you want to innovate...
Do they? Do people crave new stories? Because people keep going to see those Disney live-action remakes. I don't think people crave new stories, unfortunately. I wish they did. I'm not agreeing with what she's saying here on all the diversity, forceful inclusion. But I do like a new story now and then, but I don't think people do. I don't think they do. I wish they like new stories, but I also like good news stories. Anyone can write a news story, miss. But can they write a good news story? Because I don't know if I want to hear a good news, or not a good, I don't know if I want to hear a news story about an Asian trans woman. I don't know. It's got to be good, though. So are the stories that you're forcefully creating and the forcefully including in diversification good? I don't know.
Even to stay current.
I don't know.
It's not about graphics. It's not about hardware. It's about open.
Tell that to the PC players. They love their graphics and their hardware. They love all that.
New perspectives for people. So I explain it as it's important for game development to diversify. It's not just part of advocacy or activism. It is going to make your games better.
Cool, Leaf.
End quote.
Cool.
I don't think that really needs to be analyzed. And to be quite clear here, it's not technically wrong. You can absolutely make new games and new characters from new perspectives, and they can be amazing. That is absolutely true. But you tell me, does that sound like someone at the ideological helm of a consulting company who wants to leave an existing narrative intact and simply polish it at the end stages? Or does it sound like someone viscerally interested in modifying the base product, being part of its construction since the very beginning, and transforming it into something that they believe is more valuable by fundamentally changing what it actually is, what it says, and who the target audience will be? Seriously, you tell me. Again, right or wrong, doesn't matter. What does it sound like? Here's my point with all of this. Sweet Baby Inc. is not the root cause of everything wrong in gaming, okay? That's kind of a ridiculous premise.
Of course it's not. Yeah, anyone who's saying that, they need to get off the internet some. Anyone who would say that is absolutely perpetually online.
That's an over-exaggeration that opened the door for this level of disingenuous criticism in the first place. But it is an example of why there are so many problems. If it wasn't this company, it would be a different one, okay? The demand exists on a publisher level, and there's probably a large number of...
Why does it, though? Why does the demand exist on a publisher level? Because wouldn't publishers just want to do whatever the gamers want to buy? Doesn't this type of thing incite backlash? I don't understand. Doesn't it seem like there is a demand for games that are like the opposite of what they are making here? I don't know which one has the larger demand, but it seems odd that developers want to kind of cold to these.
Similar examples out there. But we have to be precise when we speak about this.
Yeah, go get some fresh air.
When we're not precise, it allows gaming media and various different journalists in particular to deliberately twist reality and gaslight their audience. Gamers don't understand, gamers don't get it, etc., etc. That's
gamers are dumb.
Saying those things because at times people are exaggerating the level of influence that Sweet Baby has. If one side says, "Oh my gosh, this one company is the reason for everything bad in video games," it makes it easy for someone else to respond with, "Haha, look how delusional they are. This company isn't the reason for every single problem ever in history."
That's why you don't oversimplify. He's absolutely correct. If someone said to me, "Sweet Baby Inc. is the problem with it, is the root cause of every single problem," I would be like, "Yeah, you're pretty dumb." And now I am not going to. I'm gonna have this preconceived notion to not agree with you. I'm gonna try to defend Sweet Baby Inc. I almost said Sweet Baby Ray.
History. But when they are knowingly disregarding the fact that this company is a clear-cut example of industry practices that are making a very large number of core customers upset, well, I don't know. It's pretty self-explanatory. The end result? Now that the company has Streisanded themselves into oblivion, gaming media has inadvertently exposed its own incompetence yet again, as the two sides argue past each other, each condemning a straw man of their perceived enemy, which is accurate enough to instill passion, and inaccurate enough to allow disagreement. Bottom line, Sweet Baby Incorporated, led by Kim Belair, very obviously tries to influence games at a core level, modifying or rewriting them through a diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) lens, but they probably aren't always successful. And now over 250,000 people follow a list of games they worked on purely for the purpose of avoiding them, which they caused by trying to get the community and its creator suspended from Steam. Gaming media, and certain journalists in particular, are jumping around wildly with their own foot stuffed in their ass because they want to defend this company desperately, but the only way to do that is to twist everything around enormously and argue against a position that basically doesn't even exist. And to argue what they want to argue, they basically have to lie. Ultimately, the Sweet Baby Incorporated disaster is an example of how everyone involved can, and often does, deliberately misunderstand each other to try and make the other side look bad for profit.
That's literally 99% of the internet is. like, oh, thing happened. What does the group that I identify with agree with? What do they think? So, but that is 99% of the internet. It is, this thing happens. How do I make sure that that I twist this in a way that relates to my preconceived notions? It's kind of like, I hate to draw it into politics. I hate to do that. But it's kind of like when you go to a Trump rally or a Biden rally, and if you go there and you read a quote that is from the other person, but you say it's from the person they agree with, they'll agree with it. But then there are quotes that if you say it is from the actual person you're talking about. So for example, let's say you go to like a Trump rally and you read a quote from Biden that you would think that they would disagree with, but then you say, oh, but Trump said it, they'll agree with it. Or you go to a Biden rally and you say a Trump quote that you would think that they would disagree with, they'll agree with it because they think Biden said it. All they're trying to do is, how do I frame it so that I can continue to agree with my preconceived notions, instead of saying, you know what, I agree with this person on most things, but I'm going to call that thing out. They don't do that. They don't do that. Exactly. They just push their own narrative and their own reality, and it's stupid. Take everything as its own piece of information. You can believe whatever the frick you want. Why did I say frick? Do everything the fuck you want in politics or whatever. Do whatever. But at least you can, if you fully agree with any political figure or any social figure, even like within this thing, if you fully agree with them or fully disagree with them, on most cases, you're probably just wrong on that regard. There's something there's gotta be, you're an individual. You're telling me you agree with everything? Come on. Like, the Sweet Baby Inc., I am disagreeing with the majority of the stuff that they're saying. But you know what I can agree with? I can agree with having a type of consultation. Like, if they did what they say they did, not what they actually do, if they did exactly what they said, where all we do is we offer some close to the end consultation to see some tweaks for minority characters or anything like that, if that's actually what they did, this would be a good company, in my opinion. That's not what they do, so it's not. But if they actually did that, that would be a good company, because I would see value in that. I would see how that could be useful for someone writing a character that they themselves are not and they need some consultation on. But that's not what they're doing, so it's kind of bad. Now, I would, if a different company could do exactly what they said they were doing like this, that'd be great. But I don't know if that's gonna happen, because video games reach so many people that there's always going to be these types of individuals that see it as a way to push their own agenda, their own narrative, whether you agree with it or not. I don't like it. If someone had this type of company, but they push the narrative that I agree with, I would still hate it, because I don't want anyone pushing a narrative or an agenda on a game they themselves did not craft. If an artist wanted to say a certain message that I disagree with, I probably wouldn't like the game, but at least the artist created the envisioned idea that they had, at the very least. But I don't want some other company coming in and telling the artist, hey, you need to do this. You need to twist it so that it has this other message. I don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah, video games are just supposed to be about escapism. So I want the artist to tell the message, whether I agree with it or not, that they have envisioned. And Sweet Baby Inc. and companies like that twist that and make games inherently worse, because you're tugging and pulling it in a different direction than what the artist envisioned.
I'm guilty of it myself, though I do like to think I at least try not to have that issue most of the time, but that's up to the audience to decide. I'm sick of talking now. Links down below to support the video sponsor, of course. Thank you to Keeps. We have a spring collection of merchandise, limited edition, expiring soon. Pick one up if you want to. Also, other links as well, a VPN, locals in Patreon, various ways to support, etc., etc. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, question everything and have a nice night.
I agree with that. Question everything. Okay, almost everything. There are some things that you probably already know the answers to that you don't need to immediately question, or some things that are so not important in life that you don't even need to question. Just nod your head and say, okay, yeah, sure, whatever, dude. But most everything else, yeah, question to a little bit. Question it to an extent. I agree with that. Thank you for recommending this Twitch. Thank you. But yeah, if you're on the YouTube lands, consider telling me what you think about this whole thing down in the comments below, and maybe consider coming by the Discord or coming by the stream live, and leave any other video recommendations down below. But until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.